Um, Brian Laundrie is the boy or the guy who is a person of interest in the murder of Gabby Petito. That was his fiance that he was traveling cross country with in their van. And there was a press conference today from Special Agent in Charge Michael McPherson, and he's part of the FBI, and they have been working on searching for Brian Laundrie over the last 5 weeks, and most of their search has been in the Carlton Reserve, which is Northport, Florida, where Brian is from. The interesting part of this in their search today was they found some items belonging to Brian Laundrie, allegedly. It's not confirmed yet. I think it was a notebook and a backpack. I also heard potential of clothing that looked like something that he wore. But then there was also remains that they found. Apparent remains were found in the area that has been underwater recently, is what Michael McPherson said.
Do you
The
have any idea
interesting
how much water a court did they go into that? Because I heard the water thing too, but not how much.
No, they haven't. They didn't go into that. I actually did watch a few minutes of the press conference. I had time, and it was just that they said that they appeared that the remains had been underwater for some time. They didn't go into detail as to if they found them underwater, if the area was now maybe swampy and there was less water. They didn't really give a whole lot of information.
That
However,
was my real quick before you continue. That was my big thing. Like, did he
yeah,
commit suicide in a body of water that had then since become a swampy, dried up, less of a body of water, or did he go to some spot and have a drug overdose or whatever, and then got what rained on and was underwater after the fact? Those are the big questions, right?
yeah, those are ones that are still unfortunately unanswered. I mean, they did kind of explain a, approximately where they found the remains, which were about 2 to 3 miles inside the Carlton Reserve, which is a 45-minute walk from the entrance of. Now, forgive me on the pronunciation of this. I want to say it's Macahachie Creek Environmental Park. Um, they are using all available forensic resources, but they did say it's probably going to be a couple of days before they can identify that they're even human remains, let alone that they're remains of Brian Laundrie. But the interesting part about this that I really want to point out is Brian Laundrie's parents, Chris and Roberta Laundrie, told the FBI Tuesday night that we are going to search in the area of this Macahachie Creek Environmental Park. And then today, as when the FBI, they were going to go meet them. So the parents told the FBI, this is where we want to search. So they did. And they've been looking for this guy for 5 weeks. The parents just recently started helping out with the investigation of or searching for their son. And the first day that they give what seems like any sort of real help, they potentially find the remains of their child. That's
That
weird.
is weird. Yeah, it is because it
And that's
means
why my brain hurts right now because that's what I just keep thinking to myself of did did they kill him? Because that's where my brain goes of if they knew where he was, if they knew potentially where his body was, they would have had to have known that he either killed himself, which means that they assisted in suicide, or some of it either one of them could have lost their mind when they found out what he did.
well, it could be that. It could be that it's something as nuts as them killing him. It could also be this is a place that he likes to go or told them that he was going to go, and maybe because they knew that he was looking at life in prison, if they knew he was going to go out there and let's say swallow some pills and go out the easy way rather than face the music for what he did, that's also a possibility. And maybe they were just giving,
Him
maybe
enough time to do it.
they could have been that. It could have been that. It could have also been that they wanted to say as little as possible, but maybe the screws got put to them and the pressure got a little hot, and then they said, well, there is this place he likes to go, uh, out at this Macahachie, reserve, and we would advise you check there. The parents are really sketchy, but at most they could probably be charged with aiding and abetting his escape if that is what happened, and I'm not sure what how stiff that will be, considering that their son is now dead as well. And also, I don't think they would have made this announcement today unless they were sure they had found Laundrie, one
So
way or the
you
other.
you,
That
you
they were
think
sure.
that they were just pretty much covering their asses and saying, well, we can't say that it's Brian Laundrie, we can't confirm that it's even human remains, but they're at this point pretty sure that they found him.
I just don't think they would have made a statement like that if they found a backpack and some clothes and something that could be human remains and say, you know what, that might be the guy right there. Maybe it's because it was so close to his house. They're like, it's a big enough announcement. We have to announce it. That's
Mm-hmm.
possible. But my gut would tell me, and I was wrong. Well, I wasn't wrong, but I had thought that he did it and then probably escaped. That's the part I was wrong about. It sounds like he knew he probably couldn't escape or run forever, so it was going to only end one way. And if it was an existing body of water, it's uncanny how similar that would have come to one of our theories that we created for an alternate possibility of Anna Machieska's disappearance. If he did kill himself in a body of water. Now, there's no indication of whether that has happened or not. Most likely, he went out there, took a bunch of pills, OD'd, and then got rained on over the next, the course of however long, and was
Mm-hmm.
underwater for a period of time. So they probably found decomposing remains. But I'd have to. Well, what do you guys think? Do you think that they know it's him?
I thought I had read something that they did confirm it was him. But
Yeah, I heard that too, and I keep looking and I can't find it.
I know I saw it somewhere. Here's this case is getting like weirder and weirder for me, and I feel like there are going to be a lot of questions that don't get answered. But the one that I find fishy that makes this like not a cut and dry case for me is if his plan was to go out and kill himself because he couldn't live with what he did and didn't want to get caught and didn't want to have to face the repercussions, why would he go out somewhere where it would be difficult to find his body and have like a manhunt out for him if he wasn't actually hiding? He was just planning to kill himself.
It's a great question.
Yeah, and maybe he was hiding. Something else happened. Maybe he hid for a few days. Maybe he was in some kind of communication with the parents, although they were probably being watched pretty close. Not to say under 24-hour surveillance, but who knows? You're right. That might have been the original intention, like hide and figure out what to do, and then it became apparent there is nothing to do.
Yeah.
And then he decided to kill himself. I do think it's telling that he came home. Also, I think that's another weird part of the story. Like, if you'd killed her in a crime of passion, I just thought, well, why wouldn't you just jump off a cliff or do something to yourself to kill yourself out there, and then nobody would ever know really what happened. But he may have wanted to go home and see his parents. That may have been the reason. So while he might not have been suicidally depressed enough not to think about, well, I still want to see my mom and dad and say goodbye or whatever, that doesn't mean that he still didn't know he was fucked.
I also wonder if, when it initially when he initially killed her, if we're assuming that that's what happened, if he thought he could run and get away, but once I guarantee he did not know that this story was going to blow up into the national story that it has. Like, everyone's following this case.
Right.
And it's possible that like once he realized that, if he had some hope that he might get away with it, once he saw that like it was being covered nationally, everyone knows his name, they're household names now. If that was the last nail in the coffin, and he was like, I'm not getting out of this. It's game over for me.
See,
Yeah.
I would be just so, I don't want to say like this would just be like a terrible ending to this entire thing. It doesn't feel like Gabby's family's not going to get justice. They're never going to get answers. And so, as horrible as it is to maybe vocalize, my hope to the ending of this case would be that his parents did kill him because he killed Gabby, and they'll be able to give answers to Gabby's family, that something there'll be some sort of peace brought forth out of something good can come out of this.
Do you feel like the peace would be knowing exactly what went down, with their
maybe
daughter?
knowing
Like,
what happened, knowing that maybe it was an accident, that I don't know. I don't know that I'm not a parent, so I don't know how I would actually feel or what I would ever need to hear somebody say in regards to the murder of my child. I can bet on the fact that there's not any single word that you could say that would make me feel any better.
I think the only words that would make me feel better is, "Would you please get that gun out of my face?" And then me answering no, and then shooting them.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's just, as Abby said, this case keeps getting weirder and weirder and weirder, and I'm just his parents are freaking me out. They're way too fishy, and there's way too much crazy shit that happens in Florida that I would not be surprised if it comes out that the parents did murder their son and dispose of his body in this reserve, and then just decided, I'm kind of tired of this game. Let's turn ourselves in. Let's let our child's body, because going on your theory, Greg, of they assisted him in letting him get out there for as long as he possibly could, give him enough time to commit suicide.
Mm-hmm.
They've not shown much emotion in regards to the fact that their son has been missing for 5 weeks.
Yeah.
They barely were assisting. Like, there's just something weird about them. And I know you can't judge people on their emotions, that everybody grieves differently, but there has been no emotion from them whatsoever. And that is weird.
It is a crazy theory, but it could be also true. Like,
Yeah.
you don't know. And here's the thing. If that happened, now, is it possible they placed him in water in order to make whatever they did, or whatever method was used to murder him, if that's what happened, that they either put him in a place that they knew he would decompose rapidly, and that's why they were mum the whole time, or because if they killed him, you would think that if his body's recovered, they'll be able to find evidence of homicide on his body. So are there only remains of him left? Is the rest of him incinerated somewhere? And also, if that's what it was, they clearly were trying to make it look like it was him alone, that he had gone out there, because his backpack wasn't far away and the clothes were there. So, like, were they trying to make it look like he disappeared if this is in fact what happened?
Right.
You know, if 5 weeks ago you're like, oh, this guy's parents murdered him, I'd be like, oh, that's crazy. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. But like, sitting here now, it's like, that's, I don't know, probably the third or fourth best,
Yeah.
solution to this whole thing. Like, it's insane. This is one of the weirdest ones I've ever heard of.
Mm-hmm.
That's just it. Like, I can completely believe that he killed himself. It's just such a weird place to find a body after a suicide.
Right.
That's what I'm having trouble wrapping my head around. It seems like someone was trying to hide his body, and I don't know why he would hide his own body.
And it's like, if the parents didn't murder him, it seems like they knew that their kid was going to go out and commit suicide, and they were just like, eh.
Right.
Well,
Like,
maybe he was like dead to them. Maybe they were like, yeah, fuck off. Like, you killed a girl. We don't want anything to do with you.
Maybe that's why he committed suicide. I don't know.
Think about it this way. If your child came home and said, Mom, Dad, I fucked up. You know, me and Gabby, or say for instance, their significant other, we had these fights. I fucked up. And I did something really bad that I can't take back. And he told you everything. And then said, I can't live with myself with what I did. I'm going to go and go into the woods, and I'm going to kill myself. I know people are going to be looking for me, or don't come looking for me. Would you be okay with knowing that you're sending your child off to kill themselves? Wouldn't you much rather know that they're at least alive?
I mean, especially if you could prove that it was an accident, that he killed his woman, because I shouldn't say it that way. He killed this girl, Gabby.
Yeah.
But if that happened by accident, it would be possible that he could have gotten manslaughter, been out of jail in under 7 years, and still had some semblance of a life to live after that, if that is what happened. So it's hard to understand. Like, now that he's been found, there's a million different reasons as to how he might have got out there, and who knew about it. Maybe the parents still didn't know anything. Maybe they simply didn't know, and he wasn't going back to see his parents. He was going back because he knew that area and he knew the spot that he could go to and disappear for a little while, while he built up, built up the nerve to do it. That's another possibility, that his parents never did know that he was going to do that. I guess they did see him at one point, and the sister or whatever saw him. But after that, who knows if they knew what had happened at that point. He could have told him at that point, yeah, they had a big fight, and I left. I had to leave, and I didn't know what happened to her after that. And then he just disappeared.
Mhm.
That's also possible.
There's endless possibilities to this, and I feel like I need access to all of the same information the FBI has, because I'll be able to solve it by tomorrow, obviously.